I think the Red Cross is great.
I think it's a good organization. It does a lot of good social work.
They're necessary, they do good things, but I guess they could be run a little bit better from all the different news stories I've heard in the news.
La Cruz Roja, pues creo que hacen un buen trabajo hacia la comunidad y que, bueno, pues ayudan mucho a los ciudadanos y nosotros también deberíamos ayudarlos a ellos.
I think they're a fantastic organization where they collect blood, and we, as an oncologist, use quite a bit of blood.
My understanding is that in the George R. Brown Red Cross shelter, it was divided into dorms, and the police who enforced all the Red Cross rules were often heard to refer to the dorms as cell blocks. And the more folks who were on the higher end of the socioeconomic scale, the more of them that moved out of the shelter, the fewer services were available in the shelter for people who had been homeless before the storm. And it showed in the way that they were being treated. 3 days before the Red Cross closed the shelter at NRG, they pulled out the laundry facilities. And a couple of days after that, they pulled out the showers. And when that location closed, they opened a location off of Fannin on the south side of 610, more in a warehouse district. And it was a warehouse. It was a HCC warehouse that they cleaned out the day they moved people in. They put 800 people in a warehouse that's not meant to house people. We got to look inside, and it was just bed after, and not a bed, cot, just cot after cot after cot after cot. And surrounding sections were the metal barriers that you often see at parades or protests to keep people out of the street. So they were divided off like that, but there was no privacy. There were no flush toilets. They had porta-cans. There were no hand-washing facilities inside the thing. There were no laundry facilities, and the showers were located outside. And everybody that we saw that we would talk to were developing productive coughs, upper respiratory infections, because there's no ventilation either. And folks are already sick from the storm. They're already sick from being in these close quarters. And now they're in, again, a literal warehouse that's not meant to house people and not set up for people and not well ventilated. And they're being overseen by the police, who, the curfew at George R. Brown was midnight. And so people, the first couple of nights that the new shelter was open, were showing up at 10:30 and 11:30, thinking they had plenty of time to get into the shelter, and finding out the curfew had been changed to 10 p.m. So the first night the new shelter was open, they locked out 20 people, including a 9-month-old and a 14-month-old. So we stood there and argued and filmed, and everyone was allowed in that night, except for one young man who had a beer in his hand. He was not intoxicated by any stretch of the imagination, but he was upset and he was hurting, and he was telling people, look, I've been here, my dog is inside. My dog's been inside for 4 hours without me. They won't let me go inside because they say I'm late. I was 5 minutes late. They won't let me in. And a volunteer came out to talk to people. She got aggressive with some of us when she realized we were filming. And we were threatened with arrest if we didn't stop filming. So the Red Cross volunteer is talking to the police, who are then talking to the people, and she's telling them, look, if you all just calm down, and calm down. When you say calm down to agitated folks, it doesn't work. But they're all doing their best. And this young man is saying, look, this is what's going on, and I'm not happy about it. And one of our medics overheard her say to the cop, I don't want him inside. So they let everyone in. We go and we get in our cars, and we're sitting there. It's about 12:30. The lights are all off. The lights are off in the car. A Suburban pulls up, police Suburban pulls up, and about 8 cops walk this young man out to the Suburban, and they put him in the back seat. And a couple of the guys are yelling to him, hey, what's your name? Where are they taking you? Because we want to see if we can find out. If he's going to jail, we want to bail him out. So we asked the cops, what's he being arrested for? And 4 of them put their arms up like this and shrug their shoulders and walk back inside without answering. And one of them finally turns around and says, he's not being arrested, he's going to the sobering center. If you're in the Red Cross shelter and you were escorted from the property by the police for any reason, they remove your armband and you are no longer allowed back in the shelter. It was her way of getting rid of him. But that's the way the Red Cross and the volunteers, some of the volunteers behaved toward the folks that they were supposed to be here helping.